Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 International 9-Ball Open. Thank you. Thank you. Sounds like you guys are ready for some pool, and so are we. This is a Pat Fleming production. It's brought to you by Accu-Stats, and it's coming to you live from the Simonis Aramas Arena at the beautiful Sheraton Norfolk Waterside Hotel here in Norfolk, Virginia. Our past 4 years, our gracious hosts. We also want to express our deep gratitude to Diamond Billiard Products for providing us with the best equipment in the business for all 3 of our events and throughout the years, and their support of Accu-Stats and professional pool. Thank you, Diamond, very much. We had a full field, ladies and gentlemen. 128 players from 22 different countries have come here to try to win this most prestigious title and the $30,000 first place prize. We're going to know that in a matter of 4 or 5 hours. We are down to our final 4 players. This is semifinal number 1. We'll have semifinal number 2 approximately 6:30, and roughly 9 o'clock we will have our championship match. We're still doing races to 10. When we get to the finals, it'll be 1 race to 13. Let's find out who's going to the finals. Representing the Philippines, this gentleman is a former Diamond Pro Super Billiards Expo Players 10-Ball champion. He's sponsored by Roy's Basement and by Predator, a great young star from the Philippines. Let's hear it for James Aranas. His opponent, also representing the Republic of the Philippines, with a lengthy list of accomplishments that will, at one day in the not-too-near-distant future, see him go downstairs to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But until that happens, we're going to tell you that he's a former World 9-Ball champion. He's a 3-time Derby City World All-Around Master of the Table, sponsored by Doug Beasley Custom Cues and Clutch Shot Billiard Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Robocop, Dennis Orcollo. All right, gentlemen, good luck to both of you. Lad, for the break, if you would. Your official timekeeper is John Baker. We're going to send it upstairs to the comm box right now to Mark Wilson and to USA Mosconi Cup captain, Double J, Jeremy Jones. Take it up.
We are delighted to have terrific pool fans here joining us today. My name is Mark Wilson. Alongside me, Jeremy Jones, perhaps the best color man in the game. Jeremy, give us something to look for in this match.
Well, since we have James at the table first, we'll talk about him, a young man that I'm always on, trending upward, it seems. We hadn't seen much of him the last year and a half. That's kind of a lot of players with the world's kind of situation with COVID. But what I see with James is what I talked about the other day is not the old school Filipino technique. Of course, his mind still much like the traditional Filipinos, but I look at him that's a little better with the technique, or maybe a little more technique in mind, similar to like the Chinese Taipei players, I think. And then Dennis Orcollo, who of course has great technique now at the table. And I talked about James, though. I can still see at times, knowing James, he gets a little nervous. He handles it great, but he may be even more comfortable playing his fellow countrymen here, even though it's a big semifinal.
Really admire Aranas' technique because it is a very orthodox effort. Then he's real smooth. He reminds me of Rodolfo Luat with how smooth his cueing action is. He broke dry. Orcollo at the table with a nice open layout here to begin the match.
And Dennis, always has results. These 2 months when he has played the big events, semifinalists in the U.S. Open, now semifinalists here in Norfolk. No coincidence. Plenty of wins in between. You may say a hair smaller events, of course, but still we know what the fields have been like in America the last 2 months, Mark, and nothing's been easy. And, beyond the tournament room, you talk about playing a lot of games and one-on-one matches. playing all kinds of games. This guy might be the best, right?
Yeah, right. Look how much he's stayed in action here. He's played some big sets with some great players. He backs down from nobody.
Now, the 9's in a funny position here, so it makes me think he's going to come forward off of the 6, I thought, with top inside, because where are you going with the cue ball if you're coming across the 9? You got to be real careful with the side pocket. He pulled it deep of the side, and so he's going to have to work pretty hard on the 7 mark.
He made sure the 9 wasn't in the way with that shot, but then now he's going to have to get back there. He just needs to get really just a hair past where the cue ball's resting now. Will be fine.
This is all about stroke. If you put a good stroke on it, really it holds its line real well. It doesn't want to bounce off the rail that much. Shouldn't be a problem, but, oh, sweet stroke there. Maybe more than he wanted, but. And I just thought on the 6, he may go with top inside mark and go underneath the 9 to get that 3 rails and get that angle on the 7, but just got to dodge the side pocket.
He wanted to make sure he didn't get short on the 8, but he overcooked it a little bit there. Went all the way back.
Well, I think he just hit it, probably got more out of it. And it wasn't really a heavy stroke. It was just really pure.
Nice run out from the dry break by Aranas, by Orcollo. He begins 1-0 in front, and he will be breaking.
Yeah, and speaking of Orcollo's break, he's pretty much a guy that always figures it out, no matter the rule, no matter what technique or what speed he has to apply. And that's kind of obvious, of course, being a semifinalist.
Nobody in the field has hit more balls in the last 3 days than Dennis Orcollo. I've watched him every day. He's worked at least 6 hours on the practice table to play a 2-hour match.
Well, that lone American, just because he's not here, that doesn't mean he's not hitting balls.
He can only tie Orcollo.
Right,
he can't
right.
supersede what Orcollo's done, but he very well likely has tied Orcollo, too.
Yeah, he was down at the pool room today, and, of course, that's a big matchup.
Did you go down this morning?
Coming up soon. No, I didn't, but I knew he was down there. We're talking about SVB. He's going to play Albin Ocean in the next semifinal. And I'll tell you, and maybe to end, these last 2.5 months of incredible tournaments around the U.S., you got to appreciate James and how he's played, but maybe no better 4 semifinalists here to kind of round up this last little season we had before going into the holidays, right?
I really believe that's true. When you watch them all week long, we watched them in the 10 ball, we watched them in the 1 pocket, now the 9 ball, and these guys represent the best as we have. So,
yeah, we have anybody that says Orcollo, SVB, and Ocean are going to be in the semifinals. You could almost say duh to 2 of those, right? You kind of just figure if they play their game, 2's going to get there. Now we have 3. And we have a guy that's one of the younger generations, even though the 3 we talked about are still in their prime. But we have an Aranas trying to make a statement as well. So it's a lot of good things going on here in the semifinals.
Orcollo, extreme left side of the break box. The one on the head and the 8 ball on the wing. Neither one found the mark.
Yeah, interesting 2 dry breaks. A complying break there, but now Aranas will chop on the right side of the 9, and I got to believe he's going to be aggressive trying to get behind the 3 with the cue ball.
It almost seems like late yesterday afternoon, the balls quit going in on the break, like the cloth is getting more broke in or the way they're settling on the rack. But it's just, not as freely as if we've been seeing throughout the week.
Well, I think the difference in this match so far between what we'll see in the next match, this is surprising. I think you got to be aggressive there. I wonder if that's a little early nerves making him not want to cut off the right side of the 1 and travel the cue ball around the table. It was laying pretty nice.
He hit it too full by quite a bit, and I think it even double kissed coming off the rail. I think it just lightly nicked the cue ball because, look at this, speed was completely awry, and this shot, he wouldn't have played it like this for sure.
Well, that's something to learn right there. To open the match, it's actually more touchy and more nervy a shot to try and be subtle like that coming up on 1 ball. much better to cut on the 1. You have a lot more room for error with 3 balls being and 4 balls really, the 5, 8, 2, and 3 helping you. Ooh, any indication how comfortable Orcollo is early.
Yeah, he looked real
He
tough.
might cut this in if it doesn't bank.
Good Lord.
I'm telling you.
That'd be a monster shot.
If he feels like he's 7 out of 10 with the slidey pocket,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him just, take those shots on. All right, chopping on the right side of the 2. He may squeeze the cue ball behind the 9, but I don't know if he'll go that far with it or not. Oh, well. Orcollo's going to get Aranas is going to get a little more look than he probably figured. Another touchy shot. Can he see enough of the 2 mark to bank the 2 by the 5 and just go into the 3 with the cue ball?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he has that for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Making
Ooh,
it is
he's
out
elevating.
of the question. He might be trying to stick it behind the 8.
Yeah.
At speed, it plays wrong. The 2 wants to come 2 cushions back down on the same half. Oh, he hit it good, but then.
Yeah, that was difficult.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He got the double kiss, the perfect double kiss.
So I think a couple shot selections led to more error, more than execution. I mean, of course, he needed to execute, of course, but those are 2 tough shots to open the match with. Now, this is something I never saw Orcollo miss a jump shot throughout the tournament. I didn't see them all, but I saw about 5 of them. Well, we got that out of the way, Mark.
Yeah, you jinxed him.
I know. It is the truth, though.
When they go right in, they seem so easy and natural, but we know it's a difficult shot at the best.
All right, James gets to settle in here with a few shots, and still a difficult rack.
Yeah, it's almost like a drill or something. They're
Right.
all on the side cushion near the side pocket.
And the thing is, if you can't get real straight on the 6, you have to play it with a bit of an angle. But you can't afford too much. It's very hard to go back and forth with the 8 there and be real accurate. So, not saying it's not doable, but he would like to get a little bit heavy on the 6. That way, he can play a smallish angle on the 7 to come across. You think he'll just draw the ball here?
Yeah, I think that's the way it lays, and I think that's what he really wanted to get, too.
Yeah,
I
Go
think
ahead, Mark.
he can control it pretty well.
Well, there's a side pocket. He's got to be pretty much that's the main thing to be concerned of. Yeah, he wanted to float in there heavy. Now he thinks he's got the stroke for this. So he kills his ball real nice.
The side pocket spooked him a little bit. Maybe he even let up a little bit on his stroke coming through the ball.
Yeah, just got to kill it here. I wouldn't go back and forth. I wouldn't go 3 rails. Just a flick of left English. Yeah, nice shot. It's kind of going to be the best way for him to settle in is keep it simple.
Right. Well, we can see he's just a little ragged at the start with a couple of loose innings and a dry break, and then now he's making a pretty nice attempt at this rack. It will make for a better match if he gets out here.
Yeah, well, that shot was hit very cleanly. Probably got a little more out of the cue ball than he thought, but as long as he, delivers the cue, this should be all right. Don't guide it. A nice stroke.
Smooth as could be. This 9-ball would tie the match at 1 game apiece. Just like in the opening, I was talking about our great fans, but I want to send a shout out to the owner of Chattanooga Billiard Club, Bill Wyndham. He's a great fan. He's always got the streams on in his club. He's got great tables. He has the absolute best burgers I've ever had in the pool room, by far. I sometimes I'm mowing. I live 6 hours away. I'm thinking, 6 hours, that's not that bad for a good burger. But if I head down south and I come through there, I always stop by.
Yeah, I was on the road and around there just after his newest place, the big place you're talking about, opened in 91, I think, 92 maybe. And, of course, I was forced to stay for about 10 days because there was a big blizzard came through. And but we stayed about a month because we enjoyed it around his pool room so much. And Chattanooga being such a nice place anyways. All right, Aranas to break here in Game 3. And the interesting thing that I watched, you know, we had some introductions and a few things go on before the match, and the guys weren't allowed to hit balls, really. You know, they already got their practice in. But I saw Dennis Accu-Stats that didn't want to sit down. And I saw Aranas over in his chair. So, you know, one thing that all of us, we always talk about the greats and why this happens and why that doesn't happen. And a lot of us feel that knowing Dennis, that there's nerves, you know, in these big tournaments for him as well. And not saying it holds him back or anything, but we're always used to seeing such a comfortable Dennis because we get to fortunately see so much of him here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And he's a very giving person as far as the pool room's concerned. Always there to hit a ball with you or tell you something or talk about something. So, you know, when you see him have to swallow once or twice extra, you know, knowing him, you know, you interest kind of how he's going to perform. And it was kind of interesting to me to see him not want to really sit. He was somewhat pacing around a little bit. And I'm not saying it's going to affect him here, but something maybe take note in. This is funny here. I might go at the 6 just saying I'm going to get at least past it. If I kiss it, it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know if he can dig on it and really guarantee getting past the 6. I mean, I know he can, but my point is I wouldn't threaten missing the ball, trying to hit it real thick.
That's the side that figures to miss on if you do miss.
Oh, he went short of it. He's going to get really thin on this 3. If he can reach it, he's going to shoot.
What you were saying about Dennis not wanting to sit is because he's desperately trying to win this tournament. You can tell by his work ethic and focus when he comes to these matches. And it's not that he's afraid to compete, but he cares so deeply is really the issue.
I agree with that. And also, if you're around Dennis, besides him maybe taking a break to eat something, he's rarely sitting, period. He's usually on his feet hitting balls or, practicing the break, something.
Trying to make a real thin cut with the bridge.
Okay, watch out, 9 ball. He hit it thick. Now the 9's going to help him maybe.
Now he's glad to see the 9 ball in the way. Aranas has a long, thin get on the 3 ball here.
And I don't know if he can really play it. I guess he can with some spin. It's a dangerous shot. Could lose the cue ball in this lower left-hand corner very easily. The good thing is sometimes it's hard to hang it. It wants to either get away from the pocket and come back to the rail off the point. Do you see a safety, though, Mark?
Not an easy one.
No.
I think you have to shoot here.
Yeah, I think you're right. So this will be heavy left spin. Decent little chance of catching the ball first and cutting it in, but it's mainly rail first. He could go no spin, I guess. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking, just for the accuracy. Oh.
Well, you may get lucky here.
Well, he definitely had heavy spin because the cue ball still had spin once it got past the side pocket. So he was trying to inside spin, cut that in, and it squirted too much, kind of hit it on the way out, I think.
Yeah, it caught ball first. It caught ball first.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I find on shots like that when nerves are high. I brought this up to you the other day, right? When you get short with the stroke, you don't deflect the ball what you're thinking, right? So it doesn't bend out actually enough for you. We're always talking about lowering deflection, but there is some that we depend on when we're using side spin. So I do it a lot. I feel the stroke be short, and I always swerve into the ball a little early. I'm not so sure it's 100% that, but I kind of feel it is. James, who has a very long follow-through usually. All right, drawing up for the side. So it looks like they're going to win on each other's break through the first 3 games. And that's something I think in the next match, and it'll change in this match as well. I don't think we're going to see that continue as much. I think the guys will figure out how to make balls.
Orcollo 2, Aranas 1. Playing with a 40-second shot clock. Got a few players in the arena. There's Omar Al-Shaheen enjoying a good cup of coffee and sweating the match. There's Nick Varner, just an 8-time world champion. Nick and I do a lot of clinics together, and people are always nervous when we get there and go, hey, welcome to the Play Great Pool Clinic, and hope you paid your babysitter. We're going to be here a while, and please welcome my guest, it's Hall of Famer Nick Varner. And they'll all clap and stuff, and I'll go, hey, Nick, I never really did the math on this. How many world championships do you have? And he'll say, oh, he's kind of humble. He go, 8.
Yeah, there is the Kentucky Colonel right there in your screen.
He'll say 8 world championships. So then I go, okay, everybody, between the two of us, we have 8 world championships right here. And it kind of puts everybody at ease. I'm not some egomaniac. Yeah, but he does a great job. He's a real credit to the sport.
I tell you what, I was lucky, which I was always wanting to practice with Nick at the tournaments when I could, and he taught me a lot. And it was just little things, but you know how one thing kind of connects to another.
Yeah.
All right. Raised hand with the bridge. So maybe a little more power. No?
Ball on the wing. And both the 1 and the 5 did go in.
Okay. Dennis, a very aggressive player. Quite a bit of cut on this 2-ball bank. But, I mean, he does his percentages pretty well. If the cue ball or the 3 agreed with getting shape a little easier, I wouldn't doubt he plays this bank.
Does he think the 8 could go in too? Is it
well,
like
no,
that? Not really.
Well, the 7. If the 7 wasn't there, Mark, he could draw or go into it and hold, but the 7, it makes him either go forward, which I kind of like, or draw off the 8, which is very dangerous, I think, because you got to cut the 2 a little bit. So being accurate going into the 8 is kind of tough. So I think if he does shoot at it, I kind of like follow, but you make the bank, like you feel like you're going to make the bank more often with the draw stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to worry about the cue ball behind the 4, maybe scratch. This is a weird shot. And he went with straight draw. Watch out, cue ball. It's got a lot of heat. Oh, my. From where those balls started, you would have never expected scratching in that upper corner.
Yeah, sure wouldn't.
Yeah, now, again, James has ball in hand, but a difficult rack because of 3 to the 4 to the 6. If you remove the 8, things aren't too difficult, but I don't really see anything I'm in love with, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get to the center of the table just perfect, you could probably draw around the 8. But that takes a pretty accurate stroke from the 3 to the 4. I like what he's done here. And he would love to get right where he's at now with the cue ball for the 4.
The one thing both these players have is all the tools to get where they need to be. That's for sure. You couldn't make it this far into the tournament without having a multitude of stroke capacity.
Yeah, if he gets a little thin here on the 4, I'm not so sure there's an alley between the 7-8 coming 2 rails back for the 6. And going 3 rails off of the 4 with inside would be tough. That's the shot I like there. No 2 rails. I think that was a smart play, but this is the angle I was talking about. Is there enough to come before the 8 and back between the 7-8 and 2 rails, Mark?
It is tight for sure.
Would you draw up the side rail trying to bump the 8?
It's too thin.
Well, trying to bump the 8, though.
Yeah, that part of it. But,
yeah, I mean, that's not terrible.
I think he's going to play between the 7 and 8. I do think that. It's just tight.
Okay, great stroke there.
That was
comfortable, James Aranas.
You couldn't have drew it up on paper better. It would have followed the exact lines that you would have drawn.
Yeah, and James is a worker. You know, it's almost like, most traditional Filipinos, they respect the game, know how hard it is, and also how easy it is to get out of line, and it costs you a crucial game. So he's a guy that's not only major talented, but wants to do it right. Little funny here, Mark. You know, if he draws the ball, the side pocket's very much, in play. Just got to be accurate. Oh, he rubbed the 8. And I thought it was a funny shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit flat. He had to make something happen there. And despite the fact that he rubbed the 8, we can't fault his effort. That was he made sure he got the heart of the pocket, and that might have, allowed him to rub the 8 on the right side.
Well, he definitely wasn't going to go in the side pocket, and percentages said he was going to be just fine the way he shot it.
2 games apiece now.
Yeah, pay attention to what we've seen so far with the break from these two. Because one of these guys will go on to face one of the next 2 guys, SVB, Shane Van Boning, or Albin Ocean. But I think you'll see definitely more speed on the break from Shane, no doubt about it. And what it seemed like more speed from Albin the way he broke last night. And boy, he played well.
It's not an absolutely capacity crowd, but it's a pretty big crowd. This is our final day action. We have this match and 2 more coming up. Aranas breaking, 3's on the wing.
All right, that's the hit. Notice how the complying ball's up beyond the head string. They did not hesitate getting up beyond that head string, and that's the kind of hit you want to get. Not only, it's obvious you want to comply, but that's the hit that's making balls, that's making the one a lot, getting good spreads.
Yeah, you mentioned they get up there in a hurry, and that's good ball action, so that means he's hitting them right where he wants to.
Got to go for this, right? Oh, I wouldn't draw it. I'd just come a high ball to the backside, maybe playing the 3 in the. He's going to play for the 3 in the side, which is fine. Got to shoot, though. No, he played more of the high ball I was talking about, just cueing downward, yeah.
I love his speed, and I love the smoothness on the transition from backswing to foreswing there.
Yeah, kind of the epitome of what you want. Very natural, nothing really controlled. Just a very relaxed backswing, nice acceleration. And what I see from a little more of the young Filipinos, right? Like a Johan Chua as well. A little more technique in mind.
Yeah.
And nothing against the older guys. That's not what I mean at all. Just, today's information age and watching everyone else. Bang. Kind of tapping the table.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too straight here. He got just a little bit flat. I think he can easily do it. But whenever you have to ramp up the power to come across there, your control can be reduced.
Yeah, I wouldn't play the 3rd rail here myself. He's very good with top inside. I come 2 rails to the head string unless I feel very confident drawing the ball into position on the 6 to play for the heavy angle. But the way James plays, and he kills the ball so nice, the 7 up in the corner, past the side is not that tough for him. I think it's top inside to about where the head string's at. Oh, he's coming backwards. So maybe going to the rail. Okay, so he's going to work the ball. See, he may have to go back and forth for short side anyways, unless he really wants to put heavy inside. Like I commented earlier, he's very good at the inside English.
I like his thought pattern here because the inside, when the 6 ball's up that high, to come around 3 rails is tough. So you might as well just go ahead and accept it. You just got to go side rail, and get the 7 in the far corner pocket.
I think he's going inside. Big swing through the cue ball. Yeah, just like that. He's very good at that shot.
Holy moly, is he ever?
Yeah, well, the key is to be confident that the speed will be there. If you overhit it, you don't allow it to grab it. Notice how he just barely coasted in there, and that's the commitment in the stroke right there.
Yeah, that was quietly a tremendous shot.
Yeah, he's just got to take the short side. Go ahead and feel a little 2-inch bounce off the end rail. He could float in there, not coming to the end rail mark. A lot of people would say that's the correct way to do it, but I see a lot of people let up on that and get very thin on the 8. Just trust that you're going to come through. Speed's going to be good. Maybe a 2 to 3 inch bounce off the end rail. Oh, he's stunned. Wow.
Oh, good hit, though.
Yeah, I was. So that told me he didn't really want to hit something somewhat light. And it was hard to not get a shot the way he shot it.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he landed on the 8 on the far side of it tells you it was a pretty straight shot, and he was forcing something, and he did a great job.
Yeah, and really deserved the out. Took on the bank on the 2. Super nice shot from the 5 to the 6. Even better from the 6 to the 7.
That was our first break and run of the match. It opened with a great bank on the 2 and then position. Then he got through those balls on the long rail really nicely.
James Aranas, nicknamed Dodong. Dennis Accu-Stats, they call him Robocop here in America. Kind of known as the fisherman back in the Philippines. I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up the speed a little bit here. Not saying that his first was bad by any means.
It's the 2 ball in the wing that he would play if that was to find the mark. More than the 1 in the side.
Yeah, look how they race upstairs. Exactly what he wants.
Oh, he made the wing and the 1 ball. That's big.
Yeah, the slick table. With the 9 being there, he really doesn't have a whole lot of options. Does he have a 1 rail angle that's enough to get down straight down the table, or does he have to come with top inside?
I think he has to go top inside. It's hard to tell from here. You can see it's kind of on that borderline.
Yeah. Well, the thing is the 8-5, right? He's got to make it kind of bleed up there. Oh, he decided to play off the 9. He didn't feel like he wanted to really slow roll 2 rails up to the 4, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like really let it take, but the only way you hit the line is kind of slowly. Now he's going to put him behind the 7, I believe. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe he puts the 4 behind the 7 and the cue ball behind the 5. I think the cue ball behind the 7, though. Going to bring the 4 past the 5. Oh, no, he didn't. That's got to go.
Well, that's good because you can see how tough it is. Just a micro dot off of the 4 ball changes that speed quite a bit on the cue ball because he was about 3 inches short. And these guys are so good at hitting that shot, traveling the cue ball that far, that you start to think it's automatic. And now we see it's clearly not automatic.
No, and the one thing that I would like to have seen from Dennis is you notice he didn't go look from behind the 7 where he wanted. In my experience, I was always better at the speed whenever I went and looked at where I want the ball to, kind of like playing position, really, when I went and looked at where I wanted the cue ball and the object ball to line up, really. Kind of feels like an easy shot, but it's still demanding.
And you can't get lazy. And I think that sometimes from so much pool being played by Dennis. I think sometimes he's just a hair sloppy on some of those aspects. He does everything so well in every other aspect. I hate to ever be critical, but once in a while it just seems a hair careless with him.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't have many errors to be
Right.
areas to be critical of, and that's something that many people have talked about. Even his pace of play, sometimes he overlooks a hair of something, and
Yeah.
gets himself in a missable position, and his talent overcomes it so much.
I know you've seen it a lot, but sometimes he goes into one-stroke mode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's just the weirdest thing. And it'll be in the middle of a match, he'll just completely switch up and be a different player.
And the problem is, like anything, he has a lot of success doing it still, so it's very hard to take a look at times, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't be critical of it because he oftentimes just runs out no problem.
Right. All right, is he going here? Looks like he's going.
He hit that cross-corner bank a minute ago really good.
Oh, that's a little heavy, and it needs to slow down. The cue ball's a little heavy as well. This is going to give up a shot for Dennis. And the thing is, if he's a little closer on the bank, the speed is actually better. It doesn't look like as much of a sellout shot.
Right.
He was a good half diamond high with the 4, so, anytime you hit the ball thicker, it's going to get more travel. Now, this is a little funny as well. Not a real clean alley. He may come 2 rails to the back of the 5, up and down, like this. This is kind of what I saw he may do. Just, again, he's so good. He can handle a lot. Stop shot here?
If you can, yeah, it looks like it. The one thing to be mindful of, that thin hit, boy, that cue ball had not even a hint of any accidental side spin to it. He just tracked perfect. That really enhances accuracy. That was good speed there. Stop shot or slide to the rail and out, straight in on the 8. Roll forward here.
Yeah, well, Dennis is kind of like, if you were to pick out categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pool, like, you do that actually. All the work you do and the teaching and everything, we both do, but that, are essential for great pool or better pool, whichever way you want to look at it. Dennis may not be number 1 in any of the categories, but he'd be like top 3 in all of them.
Yeah.
So,
got a short player timeout right now, and you're right about that.
Now we're back. James Aranas to break in game number 7. I think really, they've taken on a couple difficult shots and missed them, but overall, I like what I'm seeing.
3-3. The wing ball went in the pocket, and the 1 ball. So both players have found the range on that. After I just said the table wasn't giving up much, it seemed like it slowed down yesterday. Here he made 3 balls.
Well, I saw James put a little more into that one. Definitely got a great connection. Now another bank. He's had one that was good and one that wasn't so good. Gave up too much of a shot to Dennis. This one he can hit with a high ball. If he's comfortable with it. Go by the 6. He could draw by the 6, but I like the high ball in between the 6-9. I think he'll shoot. Oh, nice shot.
Good shot.
Yeah. And that's the stroke that makes that ball want to go a little more when it hits the pocket a hair crudely. You poke at that ball and it wants to stand up a little bit more. Now, funny shot here. Can he draw past the 6 mark? He's pretty close to it, but he's a bit thin. Slow draw.
Yeah, and which means you have to introduce some right-hand English to get enough acceleration after you hit the rail. That's what he's looking at right now. And now he's looking at, what if I just trim that 6? What happens to me?
Yeah.
He might not have a choice, though. And for sure, the emphasis has to be on get this ball down.
I think if he just doesn't use too much right, I think it pulls past it. He just has to be committed to nice and slow like that. Yeah.
I see. And then just settle for the long get on the 5. I was thinking of getting closer, but it wouldn't. The speed wouldn't allow it to go by the 6. So.
Right. It's kind of like where you want to work a little harder or take a chance more. Take a chance here that you're a big favorite to bury this 5. You got to move the ball a little bit here, Mark.
I love the way that he took his time to decide that that's what he wanted to do. And
well, he can play a kiss shot on the 8 pretty easily if he has to hold his ball. He would certainly follow if the 9 wasn't there. So, I hate to put inside on this, Mark.
I don't think he will, yeah. I'd rather just roll it to the rail and just let it bounce off and play the 6 from here or just across.
Oh, what a sweet stroke.
He did put inside.
Yeah, but the good thing was almost like that last one. It was just a touch. He actually used that nice follow-through to get through that 5. I tell you, James looks pretty settled.
Pretty solid, yeah.
You know, these types of outs, like I said before, a lot of players get really involved with perfect, right? Mm-hmm. And perfect, of course, we're always trying to play good shape, but it's really about the guys who stay in the flow and don't mind recovering a little bit here and there that win the tournaments. Of course, you got to play smart. Of course, you got to play, pretty accurate position. But you still got to make shots, in my mind. Oh, oof.
Yeah, he is a little heavy and maybe just a little hasty at stroke after he made so many good strokes. He kind of went through the motions on that.
You hit the nail on the head there. I think he just didn't take that extra bit of time to, really get detailed.
He'd worked through so many trying, and it's exhausting mentally because it takes that degree of focus. You can't even blink. But what a great break and run out there. That's his second one of the match, too, by the way. He now leads 4-3.
Well, what I like that I've really seen is, it cost him one game, but his mentality is, and it may have been those first couple of shots that he was tentative with the safeties, but ever since then his mentality's been, I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna try and take it on. And he's done that with 3 banks. Now 2 of them, you could see the reward. He made a great out, but I like what he's thinking. He's not going to play passive, right?
He's not backing off either. Well, he knows Orcollo's going to play great, so he knows that he just needs to focus and do what he does, which is play great too.
Yeah, and it's like I always said, you really almost have to put handcuffs on the guys to not want to stay aggressive when they're actually thinking correctly. In my opinion, it leans towards aggression. When they start to get a little more nervous and whatnot, they start to question their ability or maybe what they should do. The good thing is here we have 4 semifinalists, so we know they're all playing great and they're thinking even better.
5 ball in the wing.
Oh, this is maybe going to be well, he got 2 down, so.
He glanced the pack a little bit lighter than he wanted.
You're exactly right. Hit the 1 a hair thin. Now he does have a pocket on the 4. On the 3 that goes by the 4. I think he'll probably play safe, but does he have to play this 3 into the 7 and stun forward? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good call.
Well, may see a jump shot. And just like any underdog, right? You'd love to have the lead after 7 games, but one of the keys is, to let your opponent know you're in it and get some shots at the table.
Got his arm way off to the side here. That's interesting.
Now, Dennis with a lot of work, not only a difficult shot on the 3 with all this traffic, but getting good on the 4 to get on a little bit of a covered up 5 ball. Can't really afford too thin on the 5 either with the 6 being where it's at, Mark. So I think he may sacrifice a little distance here and go forward with the cue ball, trying to get kind of heavy on the 4. I don't really see coming across the table doing you much good off the 4 ball, right?
Right. Although sometimes Dennis will work through those tough layouts and just knock down the 3. He'll try to get somewhere. If he doesn't, he still comes out with it. He runs the rack, but sometimes he runs it backwards.
Yeah, but that's the problem with coming backwards. He wanted to get full on the 4. I think that was the final destination for the cue ball, but I thought that was big time risky from that distance. You know, I wasn't really just saying because hindsight, but I saw top English with the little inside going a little better route to get on the 4. You're not going to get as close as draw stroke, but.
Well, Dodung took a look at following down to the 5, and speed control works a little bit better with the follow, but it's a longer shot.
I like this much better. You know, if you're playing on some kind of ridiculously slow or tight table, you know, maybe things differ a little bit, but it's very easy. If you recognize how much room you have from the side, you know, don't feel like you have to be so perfect. Just a little bit past the side pocket, you're home. Yeah, that's the problem whenever you, again, he really didn't ever go down there and look. You know what I mean, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's gotten a little thin.
That means he might have to rub the 9, which now your cue ball control is diminished.
Well, I think he's got to cue it with bottom and
Go
in.
heavy.
Yeah, go into the 9 as much as possible. I'd hate to be shaving a ball here. Like that slow draw we talked about a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not as slow as that one, but you don't want to murder this. Watch out for the 9 in the corner, by the way. Oh, you let up a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the second or third time I've seen him kind of decelerate through the cue ball.
Yeah, he would tell you he was happy that shot's over with because I don't think that's how he wanted it to really go down. Good thing is, after doing that, he'll commit here like that.
Got pretty straight here. I don't know if he has to pop it over there.
I think he's like pretty good, really. Yeah, it moves fairly easily.
Yeah. Thought it might have been a hint flatter, but he did that with just modest speed. So
He likes the draw stroke also, but I personally don't come for the side, but he may. Yeah, I like the corner.
that provides a shorter swing, which provides more accuracy, and he's just as comfortable playing from here anyway. So no reason to take any extra risk.
Yeah, but you notice how he still used a fairly low tip, so he could still be aggressive with the swing. He wasn't guiding it, right? He let the tip position kind of slow the ball down while he could still make a, that nice medium aggressive stroke.
Yeah, 929 here for Aranas. That's a pretty nice TPA here in the semifinal round. He's pocketed 39 balls with 3 errors. Orcollo, 33 balls, 6 errors, 846. Here's a break performance. Orcollo's been successful 3 out of 4. Aranas 2 out of 4. Both the times he was successful on the break, he broke and ran out.
Yeah, and I want to say hats off to all the juniors. Pat Fleming, of course. Rahana. All the work they do with the juniors, and it was fun to watch. Congratulations to a young Hollingsworth, right?
Right. No, all good kids and good grades, and they carry the sport forward. It looks to be in good hands. It's one of the most inspiring and uplifting aspects of this was to see the juniors playing here side by side with all the pros this week. 2 ball on the wing. Didn't go in, but the 1 ball did.
Yeah, and he definitely has put more into the last couple of breaks, which I think he needs to continue. I think the next 2 we'll see that from both Ocean and SVB. I also think that it's the same with Dennis. The other day I was talking about that angle, right? And Dennis kind of holds the angle a little bit when he's playing this cut break, and sometimes doesn't get as much power into the rack. Doesn't level out as much as a lot of the guys. He really cheated the pocket there to move the cue ball. Pretty natural here, huh, Mark?
Yeah, I think he loves it where he's at right now. Got a lot of leeway. Just want to get off the second cushion.
Well, you notice right there, he had a closed bridge, right?
Yeah.
Which I like from a little distance. And one thing now, I can't question Dennis, but one thing I see a lot with the top players, they use the open hand bridge from a long ways on the draw stroke. And that's not every time, obviously, but I see that here and there mistake. And that's, I don't know if you recall that last shot from Dennis when he scratched cross side. It was some distance away on the 3.
Yeah.
And he used the open hand bridge and didn't get near as much draw. Now, here it doesn't matter. You're so close, right?
Right.
You're not really needing a whole lot of power. But through the years, I've always seen the greats, and you see a little more these days, the guys use the open hand bridge more. But I was always taught whenever you got a little ways away, you want to use that closed bridge when you're hitting down on the ball.
Get a little more control with your tip so it doesn't wander or fly around at all.
And to me, I get a more trusting kind of, good feeling about the closed bridge myself.
Third break and run out of the match right here.
Only getting better.
6-3. Quality performance here from Aranas. He had a little bit of a rough start, a couple bad shots in the opening frame, but that's about it.
Well, it was the rack track there. You could see it's been 5 out of 6. It's pretty impressive. And that one mistake from Dennis really, I can't really fault too many other, I would call it big mistakes. He did miss a cross-side bank on a 2-ball.
Yeah. That would be an error to the hyper-aggressive side, too, because it was a pretty steep bank. Then he ended up using max draw and drawing all the way across the table and all the way back into the far corner pocket. Most unusual scratch there, but that led to a loss.
Watch the real heavy angle that Dennis creates with his hand up in the air. See how much he changes with that angle. I think you need to flatten out a little bit as you come through. That's better.
Yeah.
Still a little. Good thing he's making 2 because he's threatening that third ball. So
They made the 1 and in the side and the wing ball again.
yeah,
Did
man.
something else go? Let's see, 3.
No, yeah, just 2.
Okay, just 2. But he's got 1 hanging over here. That'll be quite handy.
He's got to have 2 rails onto the 9 here unless he wants to get really aggressive. It's not sitting that great. He certainly can't leave the 2 ball down here. He's got to move the 2 and leave the cue ball down here if he plays safe. Doesn't want to leave a kick shot at the 4-6 some kind of way or kiss shot. All right, that's got to slow down. That's got to slow down. I think he's given up at least a cross corner mark. Maybe even a shot.
Yeah. Looks like Aranas does have a shot, but he can't get back down table very easily.
He can play a kiss shot, though. I wouldn't try to get back down table unless he had to play the 2 cross corner. He can roll this in and get to the side rail and play some type of kiss shot on the 6 hanging.
That's certainly what he's looking at right now. Oh, do I want to land on this?
Yeah, I'd rather gamble on that shot than trying to force the cue ball around on the cut shot on the 2. Pocket, how much smaller will the pocket become if you try to put like a top inside here? Here the pocket plays, I wouldn't say generous, but very makeable. Just a high ball. Well, he played the cross corner. He may have fluked it in. That's surprising.
Now, this was the window of opportunity that Dennis needed.
Yeah, this got funny. He's going to have to use the bridge to pull the cue ball a little bit. Maybe he can reach across.
Dennis plays way behind the 90-degree line with his grip hand. Always fascinating to me.
Yeah, and he used to throw the cue a bit more than he does these days. I figure that when they're beyond that like that, probably started at a very young age doing it. Well, it took a lot more of a shot here than you might think.
And 6-4 will be our score now. 9:23 for Aranas, 8:75. Dennis Orcollo. 10 games. Here's a safety performance. Aranas has played 3 safeties. He's got 1 safety error, and Orcollo is 4 safeties played and no errors. Here's our kick performance, and we're getting all kinds of good stuff here. 1 kick attempted for Aranas. He was perfect, and Dennis has had 2. He's perfect.
Yeah, that one at the bottom, the kick in, 0 for each so far. Those kind of calculate to me like turnovers in football, right?
Right.
That's something you score on from a defensive position. Got to give it, of course, not just because the break and runs, but what I've seen so far as improving on the break, you got to give a little edge to Aranas, right?
Yeah, through this match.
Yeah, he's getting a
One
lot
ball's
of power. Now, he got some funny kisses there. I don't think the 3's going to comply.
Non-compliant break, yeah, just by a whisker.
Yeah, the 2 of the balls got a little kiss, slowed the 3 down.
Look at this nice opening, too. I'm sure Aranas would like to play from there.
This is funny, though. He's got to pull this past the orange. He may be able to go forward, but I think he's going to contact the orange ball here on the bottom rail.
Yeah, and once he avoids the orange ball, then he's got to worry about the 7 ball because it kind of puts it on that trajectory.
And speed. He hit that beautifully there, man. He really got the dig on the cue ball.
Really clean.
A lot of people don't realize how good that was. You know, you could easily overhit that ball, kind of let up on it as well. That type of shot could, a lot of bad things could happen. I like him going to look. He'll just go forward a little bit.
And just what you said about him going to look, he went over to see what kind of angle he easily transfers, and sometimes maybe Aranas doesn't always go and really thoroughly look.
And Dennis the same. I mean, I saw a little frustration with his last run out. He picked up the pace a little bit. I think maybe he's in a little mix right now, but when I see him go just look a little every shot, boy, he's tough.
Yeah.
Because the beautiful thing is he doesn't short-circuit the brain by, like, sitting there all day trying to question himself or anything. Usually he's still going with his first gut instinct. He's just making it a little better, a little more sharp.
Stop shot here, stop shot there, and then a stop shot.
It sure seems like the greats get back into the match a little quicker than the others.
And 6-5 as Orcollo nears 900 on his TPA.
And will break in the next game.
Boy, Aranas might have had a break and run out there if he had got a compliant break. That would have been his 4th of this match. He's only won 6 games, 3 of them by virtue of break and run out.
Well, the good thing for Aranas and why he's going to continue to do so well in professional pool is you wouldn't know it. You know, that can be a little bit of a gut check, especially, near 7'4", 6'5", major complexion halfway through this match. You know, there's a big difference there. And motivating this young man here. Well, still young, 42.
Yeah, the 8 ball found the pocket. The 1 ball found the side.
And is anybody making the corner ball more than him? I mean, we haven't even talked about it in a lot of matches. Like, it's not even been a discussion at all.
It wasn't even coming close. But Aranas has been tagging it the last couple times, too. He's got wing ball in.
All right, well, these sit nice. Thing is, he can handle angle as long as he's off the rail. Need to be off the rail a little bit here. He doesn't want to have to deal with the 9 ball when shooting the 4. So he needs to be able to get back to at least straight in on the 4 to be able to draw out. He'd prefer to be underneath the 4 a little bit. So Dennis recognized that. Now he can draw the cue ball back, I think, a hair below it. So a little low right English here, maybe just straight low. What do you do here? You pull this ball, huh, Mark? I like staying on the left side of the 7. Yeah, I like that. Now he can go top inside. He can come one rail across.
It's good. Good speed. Got the nice angle.
And he'll come 2 rails across now. Just where he's standing.
You have to have a good table to play this accurately, and this is a good table. This is the diamond. 1-piece slate. 4 1/4-inch pockets. And that's the first break and run out of the match for Dennis Orcollo.
And after 12 games, we can't ask for any more.
No. Surges over 900. 6-6 is their score.
Just like usually anyways, just like as the tournament goes on, these players that are nearing the end, they get better every match and usually get better as the match goes as well. Both guys starting out with a couple little errors at first, but now you can see Orcollo with 3 in a row.
It's a race to 4 from here. How do you feel about the race to 10 as opposed to a race to 11?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, we're playing alternate break now. I think that's a big part of it. Before we used to play winter break here at Pat's tournaments. Race to 10 is a good test. I mean, of course, we'd all wanted a hair longer. That's how all the players usually feel. But that's just because we love to play.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the race to 10's fine. Alternate break format.
I think, also, I think the fans are more engaged in a race to 10. It doesn't get as distant sometimes if the match goes one way or the other. It's not as long.
Oh, he smashed those. I didn't hear anything down. I didn't see anything down. So possibly, especially with the 2 being covered up, we'll see a few exchanges.
Yeah, this is for sure.
Well, I think the format. I think that's eventually going to be in pool, or not all pool. That's the good thing about pool. We get a lot of variety, right? Mm-hmm. Is something like tennis a 2 out of 3 shorter race set? Oh, sweet hit here, man! What a hit! Not only on the cue ball, but the object ball as well. And I think he's got him elevated, but the kick is there. Maybe you'll see a piece of the 1, but I don't think he goes for that. You want to play the kick shot here with the 2 covered up. The problem with this kick is if you kick firm, you probably lose the cue ball. If you're willing to not allow the 1 to go all the way back down table, Mark, you can hold the rock pretty decent behind the 5. But the real issue is he's going to have to elevate to curve into this being jacked up. So
all ball fouls.
All right, may bring the cue ball left of the 7. Like that. And I think that was very intended. I think he knew he couldn't hold the ball so easy. Mm-hmm. So instead of fight it, go ahead and go with it, right? Yeah. Long ways to jump the 6. Dennis is very good with the jump cue, of course. I'll tell you what, if he doesn't have to jump as much of the 6 going after the kiss shot on the 9, that may be what I play. Because, I mean, the 2's covered up anyways. You know what I mean? I might overcut the 1 here, trying to get at the 9 with the cue ball. And if you overcut the 1, you figure not to open up the 2 and 8.
Yeah, the ball will be bouncing when it hits the 1. So
that's not bad, though. That's not the worst thing.
No, I just mean it's harder to
control.
Establish where the what the effect is. You see how much he overcut that?
Yeah. Well, I think that was intended. I don't think he wanted to make it. I think he was going after the 9.
I see.
Yeah. And, if you overcut it, you're not opening the 2-8, right? If you
Right.
go after the make, you could bank the 1 right into the bottom rail, open up the 2-8. A
Yeah.
lot of things could go bad, right? So, and if you make the 1, you're not really going any further with the 2 the way it is.
And you're not likely to get a position where it's easy to play safe. It's different when you can play a pre-planned safety, but you don't when you hit this. You might not even like your position at all on the 2. So
Exactly. Yeah, if he could definitely hold the ball or something and
yeah,
bank the 2 away, that's one thing, right? But the interesting thing you were getting at, I think you were getting at, is when you're cutting the ball, jumping it, it's amazing how much thicker you aim at it because the ball's in the air and it cuts very easily when it's bouncing like that, right?
yes,
But you just kind of inherently do it. It's instinctively, right?
from
Yeah.
reps.
Yeah.
It's like intuition. After a while, you just kind of feel it.
Yeah, it's amazing. The ones in the side, to me, when they're out in the middle of the table and you're cutting it back in the side, when I look at those, I'm like amazed how much thicker I'm aiming
Yeah.
at that because you definitely. Oh, this is an interesting shot. He must be playing the cross corner. Now this one he won't want to make. I don't think he's got to be playing the cue ball underneath the 5, maybe back underneath the 7. But you don't see him going for this, do you? I mean, the 3's pretty covered up.
You'd have to hit it so hard. I don't think so. It's
Yeah.
double kiss. You can't go high right.
No, you'll kiss high left behind and then run the cue ball by the 8.
Man, that'd be
But-
murder.
Yeah, but the problem is, if
That
you
was-
don't get the snooker, you're going to be in trouble. And that's why that was an interesting play to me for him to pocket the 1 and put the cue ball in that spot right there. He put a lot of pressure on himself
Yeah.
to execute something on the 2.
In the modern game, too, leaving balls out open like this, these guys have become so adept at defending themselves from here that you have to even make a better safety. This used to work back in the 80s. It's no longer good enough at pro level. And I don't mean they're 100%. I just mean they're so good at getting you in trouble.
Well, he had too much cover there. I mean, that was going to be hard to really not get the snooker. And again, like I said, I'm very, very kind of shocked that Dennis pocketed that 1 ball a moment ago. Instead, I mean, he had a pretty open 1. He could have played safe some kind of way.
Yeah, he made that ball and then became the underdog to win this game.
It looked like it. All right, the 2's going to catch the 8 and hold that up. It's going to be a combination.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure he's glad the 8 ball went where it did.
Yeah, I think it's heavy enough, though, that James shoots at this.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken on a lot of tough shots.
Yeah, I wouldn't fault him for shooting it. I'm just saying, but this plays so much tougher than.
Oh, yeah. Dennis is very happy. James could be a hair happier, but you wouldn't want to bet against him, right? He gets to let the stroke out somewhat. Wow, that was a big miss there. And not saying he just missed it, but didn't really threaten the pocket.
Dennis does not have a
Yeah.
timeout left or an extension, so he's racing, but he still has 20 seconds, so he's fine.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time. He's played for a softer angle so he can come across. Doesn't want to have to stop the ball on that angle, right? And he didn't want to threaten getting behind the 9, so he's got to make a nice shot here. Looks like he can just float for the little angle. You want to make sure he can reach it. He could go the rail and get straighter on the 5 if he wanted. That being the top rail. I like him just kind of killing it myself. Yeah, I like that. Well, this is going to get a little odd. Straight draw, 1 rail, and then Straight up the left side of the table?
You got to bend that pretty good for how hard you have to hit it. I think he'd like to go either 3 cushions. I think 3 cushions.
Oh, yeah, I thought
No,
straight
he's
draw
drawing.
was pretty decent. I thought 3 cushions really kind of brought in the 8 a little
It
and the
is.
9.
Yeah,
I think straight draw gets him there. You just got to trust coming down smoothly. You're not going to get down there in a hurry, but you'll get there. Oh, he killed it. I thought that was the hardest way to get back down there. He hit it sweet, though.
yeah, checked it up with inside spin. And I think he did that because he knew that 9 ball was going to be in the way because we can see where the cue ball hit. The 9 ball was for sure a big ball.
Yeah. Well, no, I meant bend it down the left side of the table, just straight down. But what I like about the way he hit the 6 is very similar to what I was talking about. You have to trust it getting there.
Mm-hmm.
You notice how the way he hit it? It didn't get there till the very end, but it
Right.
did get there. And that's kind of how today's equipment is set up for you to play your best and really kind of repeat your stroke real well,
Track number 13, clear timeout.
We're going to have a short timeout here, but going back to Dennis's decision, it went pretty deep, and he hit it pretty hard, but he couldn't have hit it a whole lot softer if he goes to the end rail, but it would have taken a whole lot more draw. And so I think he felt like he had better control going with the inside.
Inside, yeah. Well, he shoots that shot, variations of it a lot. So
Orcollo to break, leading 7-6.
now Dennis, I think, put a little more into the last couple. Got the lead back. Got the lead back at 7-6. Nice solid hit there. He's going to get really rewarded with a beautiful shot on the 2 ball. Very easy access. Very easy access to the 3 in the side. I don't know, Mark, it doesn't appear the 4 goes by the 7. You're kind of looking down that line.
Yeah, so if it is, it barely goes. I don't think it does here. That's good camera work. That's much clearer, too.
Yeah, I think,
Even if you had ball in hand, it would be tough.
Well, Dennis is going to survey what he could do here. Tell you, if he could put a little inside and come up the left side of the table here, he could take on the 3 in the upper right and break the balls open. I still like him going conservative for the 3 in the side. Can always play a very nice safety, most likely, if he gets in position that he doesn't like. And he can open the 4 or fall behind the 4 playing the 3 in the side. That's got to slow down a little bit. Looks perfect. Can he drag the cue ball a little bit behind the 4 here? Does he go into him? I think he's going into him, Mark. Oh, beauty.
Man, that speed, too, that really helped out there. To not get separation, get way off angle.
Yeah, if you just toy around with balls. Now, balls on the rail are a little different because you can get double kisses.
Yeah.
But if you just toy around and lay balls next to each other and go into them, you'll notice how easily they do break apart. Think of foot speed, right? Like they do in 3 cushion, just bumping the ball a foot away, maybe 2 feet away at the most.
Albin Ocean is 31 years old.
I had Mark working over here for the last 10
That
minutes.
bothered me. I know I looked it up earlier this week. I thought I did. But
Okay. Probably comes past the side here, even though he had that scratch earlier. Nice shot. Keeping the cue ball, I think, off the rail. Now for his 2-game lead here. And a break and run. How quickly it switches, Mark.
yeah. Really, it kind of turned right there where he got that non-compliant break when he made the ball and had an open layout. And then Dennis raced up there and cleaned up the rack. But
Yeah, look at that.
if
5 in a row.
If you came here looking for easy matches, you've come to the wrong place. So, sure.
Yeah, whether that's you're a player, a sweater, any of the above.
What a great crowd we have here, and a good-looking crowd, I might add.
Always.
A lot of beautiful men and women.
The crowd here, I think, is, again, for the players, but a big, paying their respects to Pat, right, for all he does. Coming to support his events. All right, wants a break and run here. He's got to get back winning some games. There's that kiss I was talking about. Now, he's made two, so it's not going to matter. But that kiss sometimes is the one that slows down that third ball from getting, past the head string and complying on the break. If you make 2 balls on the break, the complying rule is extinguished, which I think is smart. I think that's a good thing.
I completely agree. Nothing was worse than have somebody make 2 balls on the break, and then the other person would say, "Why is the other guy shooting that?" And say, "Oh boy, here we go."
All right, top inside. He's got to let the stroke out a little bit with the right English. Doesn't have a whole lot of angle, so he's got to have it take just to get by the 7. All right, is he going to take, Mark?
Oh,
that's got to go a little bit.
Gorgeous shot. Didn't he get there? He didn't quite get there. He didn't.
No, and that's just the slick table. Now, he hit the ball a hair thick to the pocket. So that's why he pointed his cue that he was a hair closer to that pocket with the cue ball. And his pool's so brutal. Only, a centimeter or so away from a really nice shot on the 3 after a really nice shot on the 2.
He hit a good ball, but it just hit it, like you said, just a hint fat. That flattened the cue ball off from going to go a half masse here. Oh, this is sensitive.
He might get behind the 6 for a safety if he doesn't make it. Great shot.
What a shot.
And that just tells you, not only great he is with side spin, but that 2 ball, he wouldn't have wanted all that inside, but he needed it. So he knew it was always kind of a gambling situation, but, 8 to 6 down, he had to take it on. He made a great shot there. Now we'll see about the cueing. We are playing all ball fouls.
Boy, this is tough.
Super tough, especially there's no safety. You can see very easy to call the foul, and I'm sure James would call it on himself. But I don't know if he's just got to slow roll this, not even hit a rail. Yeah.
Oh, he's playing safe. Okay. Trying to play the 7.
He may have gotten there. At least keeping him off the offensive shot.
Dennis is looking, so it must be a pretty decent job then getting the 7 introduced.
Yeah, I wonder how much of the 5 he has, period. It's obvious he doesn't have the cut shot. Does he have an edge on the left side of it? That's a thin edge, meaning he could easily come into the 7-2 rails or catch a point coming out with the cue ball. Ooh, man.
What a shot.
Well, that's exactly what we talked about the other day as far as committing to that stroke.
Yeah.
Making that ball cut very nicely.
What a shot that was. My goodness. Yeah, there was no let up. He didn't poke. He didn't swerve. He went right on through it. And you can see the 5 ball barely moved and the cue ball went 8 feet.
All right. James saying, whatever you can do, I think I can do better. Very similar shot. A little more difficult, though, because of the distance. Oh. Wow, that does happen occasionally, a little more often than you would think, right?
Yeah.
But James knew how paper thin it took to really get the shot to really be successful.
I'm not trying to be critical at all, but his timing wasn't as good. It was just a hint quicker.
No pause at the cue ball that time, actually. It's amazing how that correlates with success in my mind, but... All right, Dennis has a few options. He can go with outside. He can go with a little inside running. He could play the ball in the other pocket and come on rail and get real close to the 6 ball. All right. I think he gets good here, a little more angle than he wants. Yeah, that's what I thought right here. He would get that little bit off angle.
Mm-hmm.
He may run for the side pocket here. When Dennis is really thinking well, I think he usually draws one rail over for the corner. That's when I see my best Dennis. Yeah, I like that.
And once again, virtually 2 stop shots or just a trickle ahead. Stop shot.
Well, you can feel Dennis getting stronger, right?
This will be to get to the hill.
And 6 in a row.
9-6 is our score. He was 6-3 behind, and he's rallied now with 6 in a row.
Now you can see the TPA here.
Yeah.
Aranas, of course, a bit of a turnaround. non-complying break. I think you hit it right on the head. That kind of turned things along with a lot of Dennis Orcollo. But you can see Dennis raising now to 932. Takes a commanding lead at 82 to 52 on balls pocketed.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of winning in every category at the moment.
There was earlier on when it was 6-3, Aranas was over 900, and Orcollo had 6 errors, trailing 6-3. He has no more errors since 6-3. So
Yeah, and that's what it takes.
Yep.
All those graphics brought to you by Q-Tech and Pat Fleming.
Rack 16, follow the break.
And he's really amped it up on the break, I think. Watch the square hit coming across off the 1. He'll go back right into the 9 ball. Like Mark said, the pink 4 on the corner.
Both.
Yeah, he missed the 9, but still what he wanted. And he's going to take on probably this thin cut on the 2. I don't know, maybe not. The 3's ugly for where the 2's at.
it is. It take some real artistry to get position if you made the 2 either banking or cutting.
Yeah. He would take on the bank or the cut if he saw some future, right? I mean,
Yeah, right. You can't shoot to
man,
nothing.
if he could cut it and get past that side, he may be able to get to the backside of the 3, but I think it's a missable shot, and he could lose the cue ball in that side pocket. And he's just got to play the 2 across and float 1 rail behind the 8, 2 underneath the 5 on the bottom rail, and just slowly come across the 8, I think. He played it similar. He went 2 rails. Even better.
Boy, that was a real good shot from where he was.
Yeah, and I think he could swerve the ball and hit the 2. You're kind of looking down the line, Mark. Is he looking at a jump in this?
Yeah, I guess he's going to jump it. That's
And do what, though?
just make a legal hit without scratching. I think if he's afraid
Yeah.
if he kicks.
He must be going for the bank. That's all I can figure. I mean, I don't think you would try to edge this and run the ball. I think you would try to bank this long rail in the upper left.
And stop the cue ball there. Try to get length.
Oh, how'd he hit it? Nothing but net. Tell you what, you got to give it to this young man.
Dennis was clapping, but not so much because I mean, it was a great shot, but because, he's not safe, I think.
Well, I think this is, a bunch of Filipino players, of course, right?
Right.
But this is one that they all love as a young man, so they really, really like this young James Aranas and want to see him do well. Now, maybe not this match,
Yeah.
but, they do appreciate the fight. Oh, sweet shot there.
Nice hit.
He may need the jump cue again.
Golly.
No, he's all right.
He hit such a good ball there. That's
And
2 consecutive great shots he connected on.
He's going to build a lot of fans the way he plays, staying aggressive in this match. May not, we'll see how it turns out, but sure got to like what you're seeing. Yeah, just making shot after shot.
That's 3 consecutive good, tough shots.
Okay, now just keep the focus. Looks like 1 rail to the center. I don't think I go around the 8. You could. Kind of up to him. But see how he cues kind of downward a little bit, even though he's hitting down through the ball, kind of top English-ish kind of shot. Now, he's got quite a bit stretched here, Mark.
Yeah, that downward hit, it seemed like it opened up the line here a little bit, like it had just a hint of stun to it when it impacted that, because straight topspin would have put you more towards the center of the table.
Yeah, what happens there is there's a plus and minus with that angle, meaning if you're a little off, you could lose your line, but it's a little more powerful stroke as a whole. That little downward angle is, right? Because the drive through the cue ball, right? So the top English gives you a little bit more room for error, but occasionally if you let up on that, you could lose the line of the cue ball as well. So it's give and take. I'm surprised he went with top here myself. I thought he would draw the ball 1 rail out to the center. He's right in between rolling it and going 2 rails back and forth. I think he probably goes 2 rails. Watch outside.
Man.
Kind of punched that one as well a little bit.
Well, and then he also had that downward angle again.
Yeah. But when your timing's off a hair, is the thing about it. Like I said, it gives you more power, which is why you'll see the top players use it a lot because they're good with their technique, right? But, his timing was a little off, so he kind of punched it. There you go.
Absolutely the best run out of the match, though, for how many tough shots he had to make.
Yeah, you should get a few bonus points for that one on the TPA.
Mm-hmm. We'd like to get another look at that bank shot if we could. That was a stunning start to this inning.
Yeah, jump bank, and he's taken on 4 of them. Really tough. I think, ironically, all on the 2-ball mark. This one with the jump cue, and what a shot. Hit the center of the pocket, by the way. Did not even threaten the rail.
Yeah. Beautiful to watch. And then he had to make 2 more tough shots after that. There was nothing easy about that rack.
And tough shots and high pressure. Tell you what, speaking of pressure, if he can put one together here,
that'd be great.
He would really be applying it.
9-7's our score. 5 balls a wing ball. That didn't. But the 9 found the pocket, and it's a compliant break. 2 balls on the break. 9-8.
That's right.
Getting a little more exciting here.
Yeah, we haven't seen many of those. I can't see Dennis's face, but I bet there's a nice smile.
Yep, there is.
So from a beautiful 2-ball safety, he's lost 2 games with a jump. We're going to get a replay here.
Just beautiful.
Watch the underneath kiss coming across. Cut the 9 right in the side.
For as often as you make the 9, you also chip the cue ball off the 9 into the pocket itself.
Yeah, well, it's about 10-1 on that, at least, maybe
it
more.
Seems that way. Yeah.
Okay.
9-8. Wow.
Yeah, and it's been a game, a match of streaks.
We've seen
Aranas winning 6 out of the first 9, right?
Right, and we've
losing
seen
6 in a row after that.
5 breaking runouts total out of 17 racks. So pretty good pace. Elite level pool, they break and run out 30% of the time. We're a little above that. Set the 2-ball in the wing.
That's right. Wants a nice 1 rail right into the 9. Oh, he cut it a little bit. I don't know if he's going to get him there. Is the 6 going to comply? It did. So I could just see a little more cut there, Mark. So I was a little worried about the balls getting up past the head string. I'll tell you, this 2-ball's super tough. And I'll tell you what he does have. It looks like to me he's got a direct path at a 7-ball hanging cross corner. I might be wrong, but if he cuts the 2 in, he's catching the 3, and no telling where everything's going. I wonder if he's even looked at the 7. I don't think the 4, 8, or 9 are in the way of the cross corner bank. Not at all. And that's a big pocket with the 7 hanging.
If you cut this, the cue ball can collide off the 3 in the side.
Yeah.
The scratch.
I like the bank. I know that sounds crazy, but I hate to cut the 2 in and, like you said, have something really bad happen off the 3-ball. And not only that, the 2's no hanger. If he cues down, I think he's shooting the bank.
He's cueing down.
Yeah, and I think it's the right shot. Just kind of hold your ball. He won't slow roll it. Yeah, that's the shot I like.
What a shot.
Yeah.
What a great shot. Making both balls help, too.
Yeah, and really, as clear as the center of the table was, it would have been hard not to get a shot on the 2. It was going to come upward, most likely. Now he's got to concentrate. Probably catches 3 rails back and forth. Uh-oh. He's going to get oh, no, he got a nice bounce here.
Okay.
Now 2 rails back in between the 6-5. One more shot, really, to get to the final. That's it there, Mark.
Gorgeous.
Don't really see much problem for Robocop. Now, if Dennis is feeling good here, he may survey. I wouldn't. I don't think if I'm Dennis I do this. I think I draw my ball to the center. He's just too good. Too many good things happen from the center of the table rather than, yeah, heck with that side pocket.
Boy, Aranas would have nothing to be ashamed of in his performance in this match.
No, and this is going to bode well for our final because he didn't just, limp across the finish line here, Dennis Orcollo, right? He really came with it. Both guys played great. But the veteran's going to get into the final.
Man on a mission. This was a really fun match to observe, too. That was his third break and run out of the match. Each player had 3. 10-8 is our final.
Yeah, and immediately the countrymen talking about the match a little bit. What an exciting semifinal, Mark, and I think we're going to expect more in the next.
This has been an Accu-Stats presentation, the worldwide leader in billiards programming. On behalf of Jeremy Jones and all of us, so long for just a while.